No.
Into the wilderness we go for a short one-game sojourn. We get you set for the Oilers and the Wild on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show live at Boston Pizza Westgate. Hello, everybody. Tom Gazzola with you. Hope you're safe. Hope you're driving smartly out there, and hope you're staying warm. Hernan Salas back at ESTHQ. Joaquin, Gage, our game analyst tonight, and we'll also be joined by Jessi Pierce from NHL.com to give us the scoop on the 19-5-4 Minnesota Wild. It is game number 29 for the Edmonton Oilers. 16-10-2 is the record. Of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Get in on the conversation. Hit us up via the text line 780-218-9999. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. We appreciate you. And, of course, subscribe if you already haven't. Apparently, about 30% of our viewers do not subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 11,000 and make Dustin Nielsen enjoy some pickled herring. It is Thursday night football. It is the Oilers and the Wild here at BP Westgate, and it is going to get busier in here, and we do have a ton of giveaways, Hernan Salas. You would like the hat that I'm staring at. It's a 49ers hat, kind of a throwback look to it. Nice new era one. Tony also has a Patrick Mahomes home Kansas City Chiefs jersey that we're going to be giving away. We've got a ton of GCs. We've got a little prize bag, and then he did find another Heritage Classic hoodie, which was really popular last time we gave one away. We thought it was the last one, but Tony managed to scrounge up another one, and then there's a bunch of T-shirts and hats and other goodies that you can pick up if you come on down to BP Westgate. Every drink gets you a ticket into a draw for one of the fantastic prizes. Big congratulations to Rip City Step, who is headed to the Oilers and Golden Knights game Saturday afternoon, courtesy of Boston Pizza and the fine folks at Molson and Coors. That was the grand prize giveaway the last time we were here last week. So it pays to be here, Hernan Salas, and you're going to be coming down here in a little bit, aren't you?
What's up, dog? Yeah, I'll be down there, have some supper, and probably grab that 49ers hat. And
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be good.
Just gonna scoop it up. That's all yours, ready to go.
just take
I
it.
said to Tony, I told Tony, I'm like, Hernan's gonna like that one. And he goes, well, you better get his butt down here. Actually, Tony was saying Dusty needs to get down here. He's been chirping Dusty a little bit, so I know the big man's busy. He's a busy boy, but
he's got he's got the voice issue. So let's just keep him at home.
I told him.
Keep him at home.
Let's let him rest up. But he should and we'll probably pop down here at some point, I would assume. All right, Latino Heat, before we get into starting lineups as well as goaltenders, Norman at Combine says, remember, Tom, if you win it, you wear it. And that reference is to Big Uke winning a men's medium T-shirt and wearing it the rest of the night. I don't know how that thing, ultra stretchy cotton, I don't know. Big Uke is a big man, and he wore that T-shirt the rest of the night. Could not have been very comfortable.
Beautiful.
Anyway, a beautiful man. He's a great man. Nanso, let's get to... do you want to do the question of the night first, or do you want me to go into starting lineups and goalies?
I can do it real quick. It's a simple one. I mean, it's well documented, the struggles of the Oilers games against Minnesota, and it's very simple. And I want everybody to think this through, though. I want one reason why the Oilers struggle mightily against the Minnesota Wild. Give me one reason. Is it the roster? Is it certain players? Like, it's got to be something, Tom. Why the Oilers can't beat this team. They've only won 2 of their last 13. They've lost the last 6 at home. And like you said, Tom, they haven't won there since 2019. A lot has happened in the world since 2019, Tommy. And then a more fun, last time they won, send us who scored the goals, and we'll have some fun with that, because there's 2 guys that are still on the team and 2 guys that are not. So if you can find that out without Googling it, throw them up on the Nasty Chat or text 780-218-9999. Give me one reason why the Oilers can't beat this Minnesota Wild team, and send me some of the goal scorers the last time they did in Minnesota.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the 2007-2008 season. The last time, or the Oilers have won games in Mini, obviously, since then. You mentioned the last one in 2019, but since 07-08, Edmonton's record in Mini is 7-22-4.
Oh boy,
it's not good. No bueno. So, question of the night is, who had the game-winning goal the last time they won in Mini?
No, just 2019? Give me one of the 4 goal scorers. Give me
one of the 4 goal scorers.
Yeah, there was 2 still on the team, and the other 2 are no longer with the Edmonton Oilers or in the league.
All right, that was back on February 7th, the 4-1 victory Hernan is alluding to. All right, let's get into our starting lineups as well as starting goalies, and of course your Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy injury report. Joaquin Gage will be stopping by in a couple minutes, and we'll also hear from Jessi Pierce covering the Wild for NHL.com. For the Oilers, pretty straightforward here, boys. They're keeping the same lineup that got the win the other night against Tampa. McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl centering Podkolzin and Kapanen. Henrique with Janmark and Skinner. Derek Ryan between Corey Perry and Connor Brown. Ekholm paired up with Bouchard. Nurse with Stetcher. Obviously, we're going to see Kulak up there quite a bit. Kulak supposed to be paired up with Emberson. Alec Regula not playing tonight. The new pickup who has a history with Stan Bowman, does know and has played with Evan Bouchard as well. As for the Minnesota Wild, here's what we're anticipating. Marco Rossi between Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Boldy. Ryan Hartman with Marcus Foligno and Marcus Johansson. Frederick Gaudreau with Jacob Loco and Yakov Trenin. And then Marat, Husnutdinov with Ben Jones on the other flank. That's a good name. Yeah, thank you. I remember it's a Husnutdinov. That is a name that rolls right off your tongue. Jake Middleton paired up with Brock Faber, Declan Chisholm with Jared Spurgeon, and John Merrill paired up with Zach Bogosian. If that's the lineup, indeed, no Cameron Crotty for the Wild. That gets us to starting goalies for the Oilers. 32-year-old Calvin Pickard, 6-3 this season, .256 goals against average, .892 save percentage in the 10 games he's played this year. Lifetime versus Minnesota, Pickard a 2-4 record, .280 GA, .909 save percentage, 1 shutout in those 6 games he has faced Minnesota. And then at the other end of the rink, this is not the guy who played the last time these two teams locked horns. It's Philip Gustafsson, the 26-year-old, 14-4-3 with a .208 GAA, .927 save percentage, 2 shutouts in 21 games this season. Gustafsson versus Edmonton, lifetime, 2 games played, 2 wins, 3.0 goals against average, .916 save percentage in those appearances versus the Oil. Now we get to the Advantage Sports Medicine injury report. At Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance performance, we treat you like a pro using the same locker room approach trusted by the best in the game. For the Oilers, Victor Arvidsson. He's been out for pretty much a month. IR undisclosed. Evander Kane, IR abdominal surgery. As for Minnesota, 3 notable injuries, and these are big ones. Joel Eriksson Ek, IR undisclosed. Jonas Brodin, IR upper body. And then Matt Zuccarello, IR lower body. That is your Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy injury report for the Oilers, Arvidsson and Kane. And as for the Wild, Eriksson Ek, Brodin, and Zuccarello. Text us, 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat. We are live on location at Boston Pizza Westgate. We're back on location for the Saturday game at Hudson's Bourbon Street on the 14th. Taking this baby on the road. Always a blast. It's going to be a great time here at Boston Pizza Westgate. They do have the Coors Light golf simulator, and you can hit the QR code on your screen if you're watching, and that'll take you to the reservation page for the simulator, and it's $20 an hour, best rate that I have seen in the city. Hernan, Salas, seeing any texts, any right answers, some wrong answers? What are you seeing?
Yeah. Rob from the Grove, Leon Draisaitl, Jason and Leduc, Nurse Draisaitl, Potato Salad Jessi, Darnell Nurse, Ryan Nugent Hopkins. He's got one right. Sorry, Jason and Leduc also added Ty Ratty. But we're still missing one.
Oh, boy.
So from the factory, from the Portland Winterhawks factory, Ty Ratty, Tommy. I think that's the year where he finished off really strong, and then everybody was stoked that he was going to be McDavid's running mate for the next 10 years, and that didn't work out.
No, it really didn't.
And Jasmine says...
Brendan Pelini, Anton Lander, yeah.
Oilers can't beat Minnesota because the jerseys are hideous. Minnesota jerseys. Yeah.
I think they're going to switch to the old North Stars colors full-time next year, if I'm not mistaken. All right, let's get to our game analyst. Also a product of the factory that is known as the Portland Winterhawks. It is Joaquin Gage in from Matt Cassian. Hello, Joaquin. How are you, sir?
Morning, gentlemen. Evening, gentlemen. Sorry. Long day.
My goodness. Gager, do you remember the last time the Oilers won in Minnesota in 2019 and any of the goal scorers that night?
Yes, we did speak about that. I believe it was it Darnell Nurse's first goal was in that game?
It was a brutal goal, too.
It's terrible. It was just awful. He lumbered up the ice and took the slapper. I think it was like just inside the blue line, and it went in. And then what did we say? I think Leon Draisaitl scored, and yeah, as you aforementioned, Tommy, from the factory, Ty Ratty.
There you go. You
and
guys
Tom,
all stick together.
Do you know who was a winning goalie?
Anthony Stolars?
Cam Talbot.
Talbs. Good dude. Still going strong. How about that?
He probably got traded.
How about that?
He probably got traded a few weeks after that, right? For Stolars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Oh, really? Jeez.
That was a poor defensive team that year. It was like 18,
Stolars
19,
is doing all right now.
17, 18. Yeah. He's doing all right. He's a starting goalie for the Toronto Maple Leafs. No big deal. All right. Let's get to Game Changers with Joaquin Gage. Brought to you, as always, by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Of course, Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. He's community-driven and understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. I like what you did with Game Changers tonight, Joaquin. So let's begin. Point number 1. All 7 levels of the candy cane forest. Enlighten us.
Well, it is the season, Tommy, with another Christmas theme. I think everyone can realize that that's ripping off, I would say, from the movie Elf, when Buddy traverses the 7 layers of the candy cane forest, but not unlike the Oilers. You look at the next 7 games. I'm including Tampa, because when you look at the lineup, Tampa Bay, Vegas Golden Knights, Florida, Boston, Gets a little bit easier, San Jose, Ottawa, but then against the Kings. They've gotten through the first level, I think. And this was, we talked about it on all our shows at EST, I think, over the past week or so. Are the Edmonton Oilers back? And I think after this kind of stretch of games, you're really going to get a good handle on where they actually are compared to the other top teams in the league. There's some really good tests in here. The thing, though, that stands out most for me is the 3 games against Pacific Division. This is where those 4-point games, Edmonton right as of now holding down that 3rd place in the Pacific. This is where they can really start, gaining some ground in the Pacific Division, because we all remember what they were able to accomplish last year. I don't expect another 16-game winning streak, but this is the time of year where it seemed like they found their stride a little bit. Let's see if they can, if history repeats themselves with the Edmonton Oilers here, and they can get rolling again.
Okay. You want to add anything to that there, Hernan?
No, it's kind of, we're in the similar time as when the Oilers kind of started to roll last year, right? And I think Gage hits it right there. Like, if you can get this win, boys, it's going to go a long way for this team, especially with the struggles they've had as of late. So that's an excellent first game changer, Gager.
Yeah, okay. All 7 levels of the candy cane forest is point number 1 for Joaquin tonight on Game Changers. Point number 2, I laughed when I read this one. Don't be a bunch of cotton-headed ninny muggins. Gager?
So, and I looked to last game, and I know John Cooper actually said after the game that he didn't think either team had their best offensive stuff. I would counteract that by saying I think both teams had some pretty good defensive play. Edmonton Oilers had the better of the chances, so to speak, but what they did, and I think we've seen that over the last few games, is that other teams had to generate their own offensive chance. They weren't handed gifted goals. Obviously, we've already talked about in highlights, lowlights, the one gaff by Bouchard trying to do a little bit too much. But this is another game, Tommy, I think that, the puck management, making sure the 6 feet on either side of the blue line, pucks get in, pucks get out, maybe not always looking for the real sexy pass, but the safe pass, D to D, and just make the Minnesota Wild earn everything they get. Because, from the game a few weeks ago in Edmonton, they feasted on the Edmonton Oilers' mistakes. They gotta make sure they're shoring that up. There's some guys out of the lineup that made that a little bit easier on the Wild, but just what I mean by that, manage the game, manage the puck, make them go the whole 200 feet if they want a real good scoring chance, and go through layers of the Edmonton Oilers defense.
Yeah, I don't think the Oilers are going to be getting any of those very fluky hockey god type goals like they did against Minnesota, especially that first one Leon Draisaitl scored early in the game, and then that bank one, I think it was Corey Perry banked one in, and then there was that late garbage time goal that really didn't mean anything. So we'll see if the Oilers make the Wild work and if the Oilers hustle for their opportunities tonight. All right, it is Game Changers with Joaquin Gage, our game analyst. Point number 1, all 7 levels of the candy cane forest. Point number 2, don't be a bunch of cotton-headed ninny muggins. Point number 3 on Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. He must be a South Pole elf. Gager.
And I'm going to admit I completely ripped this off my partner, Hernan. He mentioned it as I was leaving EST today, but there's 2 guys that wear 97 on the ice, and you could say they're at a different level. If you're looking at them, everyone is from the North Pole. Those 2 are from the South Pole. They operate differently. Let's see who the better 97 is tonight, right? I think if you were to ask a lot of voters, about hockey voters right now, who would win the Hart Trophy, Kaprizov's probably leading in a lot of those votes. Another opportunity for Connor McDavid to show that he is the best hockey player on the planet right now. I love these little battles that you see, and if you don't think that Kaprizov's going, I want to be the best 97 out there tonight, this is going to be real exciting. They're both really phenomenal players, able to do things that make you get out of your feet and slap your your hands in your face. You can't believe that they were able to accomplish something like this. But let's see if Connor McDavid can keep rolling here, because his level, like that he's at right now, he's making, and I've said this before, he's making a lot of guys look like he's the best player in the Brick tournament.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, I don't recall ever slapping my head in my face out of excitement, but maybe I will.
Hand in the face. Sorry, I messed it up. You know what I mean.
I guess so.
I mean, sometimes do you headbutt people? I don't know.
No.
Okay.
No, that's not nice. That's
right.
Not nice. It's like a dog named Jingles taking a dump or defecating on grandma's bed sheets. That's a worst case scenario.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was something else. And boys, Die Hard, Christmas movie, obviously, right?
And Tommy, you're doing well. You're in the fight for second right now.
Good. I knew, like, overall, I think top to bottom, my draft is pretty solid. Now, there's a few people that are partial to Dusty, and I feel like they're kissing his butt, and that's why Dusty's leading. That's my theory, at least, boys.
Dusty gets the Dusty bump all the time, right?
Yeah, exactly. They feel bad for him because his voice was gone, and he had to do, like, the Love Actually note thingy, and people thought that was funny. So that's my theory, at least. I think top to bottom, my draft was the best, and ultimately I'll close the gap and surpass Reed for second place, and hopefully maybe pull out a victory too.
Vote for Tom.
Thank you. Thank you. 780-218-9999. It is the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show, live on location at Boston Pizza Westgate. Come on down. You got the QR code on your screen if you want to book a golf sim time. That's what it takes you to. And then it's the Coors Light Golf Sim, and then there's a ton of prizes. Gage, I don't know. You're not a Chiefs guy, right? Like, there's a Mahomes jersey, a home jersey that we're giving away today. If you come on down, you have to be on location. And we're giving it away probably, I think, second intermission or end of the third period. Some GCs. We've got a 49ers hat. We've got an Oilers Heritage Classic hoodie, as well as some hats and T-shirts and stuff, just brought to you by Coors Light. And it's going to be a good time. We'll always have a lot of fun. Thursday Night Football and Oilers combined here at Boston Pizza Westgate. All right. This little stretch that the Oilers have put together here, Gager, are we seeing the consistency and the groove really starting to take a hold? I know you mentioned, don't expect a 16-game winning streak, but have they kind of risen and found their level? And do you think playing the better teams in the league, like the Minnesota Wild tonight, is bringing the best out of the Edmonton Oilers?
I think so. Looking back at I try to think of what was the turning point from, I would say, mediocre play from the Edmonton Oilers to get, start building and getting their game back to being championship quality. I look to the penalty kill. That thing has been resurrected with the Edmonton Oilers as of late. Very successful on most nights. And then it started to build from there. The power play, I really think it's only a matter of time. Will it get back to 30%? I don't know, but I don't think it needs to. Right, the 5-on-5 play has been quite good with everyone, and I think there's certain players in the lineup now that are becoming used to the roles, getting a little bit more comfortable of where they are, how they're implemented during the game. I think that Adam Henrique hasn't been what we saw from him in the playoffs, but a little bit different for him this year, right? He was here from the start of the year. He knows he's going to be here. His role is a little bit more defined than it was basically coming at the deadline and getting thrust in to the latter part of the year, and playoffs are a little bit of a blur where sometimes you can see your third line becoming your first line for a while, depending on how the series goes, right? So there's still some work to do. I think they do need to find some offensive contributions from areas in the lineup that you don't expect them to come from. But look, when you have your two big dogs rolling like they are, I haven't looked. I think that Leon Draisaitl is still leading the league in goals right now with 20. You're gonna be okay. But you, as a coaching staff, I'm sure they go, gosh, these guys are rolling, but you need some of that other offense from different players not named Draisaitl and McDavid.
Right. We'll see if they get that. They have been getting some contributions, but you're right. Those two are the power that is the offense, and they're likely going to have to chip in tonight. Gage, I was just looking at this, and Hernan kind of threw it out there earlier, and we want to hear from our audience, 780-218-9999, or the nasty chat. What did you think it was with the Minnesota Wild, or what's the reason why the Oilers can't seem to win there and have struggled so mightily in Minnesota? Because I'm looking at your game log here, and you faced the Wild back on October 15th, 2000. You let in 3 goals on 28 shots. You played the full 60, but you got the win. But since then, it's been pretty tough sledding in Minnesota for this Oilers team.
Well, they just, they relied on solid goaltending. What can I tell you, Tommy? That was no, I really can't really remember too much of it, but we asked so many people today, what was the reason why the Edmonton Oilers don't have success in Minnesota? And it's one of those head scratchers that maybe hearing about it, all the time, and maybe trying to do a little bit too much. I think Zach and Trev talked about it today a little bit on the shows that, you have to look to the Edmonton Oilers' dominance over the Nashville Predators over these last few seasons. Yeah. A lot of it has to do with Leon Draisaitl. I get that, but I mean, it probably has a lot of Predators people scratching their heads the same way that Oilers fans scratch their heads when Edmonton visits Minnesota. So I can't give you a proper answer, Tommy. I don't know what it is, but saying that, now you have a team that's first in the NHL. They've had a day or so, or you're playing the Edmonton Oilers. You're up against Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and all they've been hearing is how good they are at home. And sometimes reading your own press clippings can be detrimental to your performance that evening. Yes. On the flip side, you have an Edmonton Oilers team kind of figuring it out, having a big win against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Their game is rounding out, and with an experienced, mature team, now they're hearing, why can't you guys win in Minnesota? This is an important game. Like, if you kind of look at it and take a quick snapshot, you would say the Minnesota Wild are one of the best teams in the Western Conference. You might have to go through them to get to your ultimate goal. Right. Establishing winning in a visiting team's barn earlier on in the season, just so later on, maybe, if it comes down to a 7-game series, you can win there. You're not going in and you haven't won there in years. So this is just the splinter of doubt game, I would say. Put the splinter in the backs of the minds of the Minnesota Wild, going, oh well, we did lose that one against the Edmonton Oilers at home. We're not completely omnipotent in this area of our game.
Look at you broadening the vernacular on the pregame show. Well done, sir.
I know I blacked out there, Tommy. I don't know what that was.
Gager, the Oilers have dropped their last 6 visits to Minnesota. We'll see if they can pick up a win tonight in tough against a pretty damn good Wild team. Joaquin, our game analyst, fantastic work as always, my friend. We'll talk to you on the postgame show.
All right, boys. Take it easy.
There's our game analyst, Joaquin Gage, with Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting, Remax Elite. Jessi Pierce will be joining us shortly, and we'll welcome her in from XL Energy Center to give us the scoop on that Minnesota Wild club that has been playing so well this season. We're live on location, Boston Pizza Westgate. It's going to be fun. Thursday Night Football, as well as this Oilers game. Tons of prizes. We've got a Patrick Mahomes jersey to give away, 49ers, New Era cap, a bunch of T-shirts and hats. And then we also have an Oilers Heritage Classic hoodie. Rare find these days because that stuff went fast last season. Tony found one here at BP Westgate. One left. And we're going to give it away tonight. Bunch of gift cards and other prizes. So come on down. Every drink you purchase gets you a ticket into the draw. We'll be giving those out every intermission, and then the grand prize right before the end of the Oilers and Wild as they get set to go toe-to-toe for the second of 3 meetings this year. All right. Hernan, I'm assuming you got everything set up for Jessi and her shot. I'm going to bring her in. All right, buddy. All right, let's do it. Jessi Pierce from NHL.com joining us from XL Energy Center. And we've been talking about the Oilers' struggles, Jessi, in Minnesota. I remember like years ago when I was still traveling with the team, I asked Tom Rennie, who was the coach of the Oilers at the time, it's like 8 coaches ago, why they can't win in Minnesota. And he actually blew up on us as a whole, the media, not just me. It's been this place where in the last 17 years, Edmonton has 7 wins in Mini. It's a lovely arena, lovely cities, obviously, the Twin Cities. But Minnesota has had the Oilers' number. Do you have a theory as to why Minnesota has been so dominant over Edmonton?
State of hockey. They also have the same problem with Montreal. Montreal comes in here and hasn't won in forever. So maybe it's the Canadians. They play extra hard against the Canadian teams there. I have no idea. And we make it hard.
Right. Someone actually texted into the show earlier and said it's Minnesota's jerseys. They're so boring. And I said, I think they're changing them to the North Stars colors next year. Is that right? Am I right about that?
I think that's been the rumor. I don't believe it's actually happening, but I know fans here in particular would love it. It's so funny. It's like a 90-10 difference with the North Stars jersey. People are eating those up. They love them. They look sharp. I personally love them more too, but I don't get much say in it myself. So possibly, but I don't foresee it happening next year for sure.
Yeah, good point. You know what says a lot about it? Dollar bills. And if the team's making bank on that, then they're definitely going to have to switch. Hopefully they do. But all right, the Wild and Oilers going toe-to-toe tonight in Mini. It's a quick 1-game trip for Edmonton, and I think the Wild are starting off an extended homestand here. The Wild have a bunch of injuries, Jessi, and we know like these are notable guys. Zuccarello, obviously important. Eriksson Ek, big hulking centerman, can grind you out. And then obviously Jonas Brodin, a steady defenseman for so many years. How are the Wild making up for the lack of 3 of their best players not being in the lineup?
Yeah, Marco Rossi is the first one that comes to mind. You saw him really have a breakout year last year, which was such an important year for Marco because I think a lot of people were looking at him as possibly a bust. He was a 9th overall pick, hadn't performed very much in the NHL, but last year he really stood on his own, even had some whispers in the Calder conversation, and he's just grown upon that. He's been given the opportunity again to be on that top line with Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Boldy, and he's really exceeded in that center position without Matt Zuccarello there. And the other person, Matt Boldy taking Zuccarello's spot there on the top line. And they've all 3 found that chemistry between Kaprizov, Rossi, and Boldy. They all have great hockey sense. They can quick react to, which I think is so important when you're playing with a player like Kirill Kaprizov, who is so incredibly talented, who can make these unseen passes and just kind of knows where to send the puck. To be able to read and react with him, I think is huge. So those 2 guys for sure. Plus, you're even starting to get some complementary scoring and secondary scoring from your 3rd line and your 4th line, which is always important. So it's tremendous because last year had the same situation happen, which it did very often. Minnesota Wild was very hampered with injuries last year. They didn't rebound as well. They didn't really ever push through. And this year there seems to be a different mental toughness that's also helping them.
Jessi, how about this back end? Because, we hear about the team defense that Minnesota has and why it's successful at limiting goals against. I know they don't score a ton per se, but they seem to limit teams, some of the best offenses in the league. You look at the defense and the staff on there is Middleton and Faber. Okay, I respect that. Chisholm and Spurgeon. Spurgeon's been doing it for a long time. Good Edmonton area product. And then Merrill and Bogosian is the other pair. And you go, well, that doesn't really stand out to me. And we mentioned Brodin, who's not in the lineup, but what makes this defense tick in your opinion?
They're stingy, and John Hines' system also really encourages them to jump in on the offensive rush, which I think is helping the puck go the other way. The less defensive zone time you have, the less opportunities you're giving up, which is so great. And obviously your best defenseman is your goaltender, and Philip Gustafsson is playing absolutely lights out right now, which is another tremendous aspect. But yeah, the defense has really stepped up. You're getting better from your bottom pair of John Merrill and Zach Bogosian than you did last year. And last year it was really the Jake Middleton, Brock Faber show. You saw how much they could do. They were eating up the minutes. Brock Faber, I think this year again, is averaging about 25 minutes a game. He's just a workhorse out there. And they're doing it without Jonas Brodin. Jonas Brodin, to me, would be a difference maker against the Edmonton Oilers. He's a guy that's been able to shut down Connor McDavid. So I think that's a leg up for Edmonton this year, but certainly, or this game, excuse me. But certainly, as you mentioned, there's other defensemen ready to shut him down as well.
It's the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show, live on location, Boston Pizza Westgate. Tom Gazzola, come on down. I'm down here. Got a ton of prizes to give away. We're joined now by Jessi Pierce from XL Energy Center. Jessi for NHL.com, covering the Wild as we get set for tonight's matchup. Edmonton returns home after this game. All right, you mentioned Filip Gustavsson, and his numbers are sterling. Like, I'm just looking at that. I'm like, damn, this guy's popping off this year. 14-4-3, 208 goals against average, 927 save percentage, 2 blank sheets in the 21 games he's played. Is this like a surprise, or should we have expected this from Gustavsson? He's got a very formidable backup in Marc-Andre Fleury, but what would you tell people that are kind of wondering and scratching their head, where did this guy come from?
You're getting the Filip Gustavsson from 2 years ago. That's what the Minnesota Wild wanted and needed to see last year. Last year, Filip Gustavsson was afforded the same opportunity to come in and take the lion's share of the starts. He was going to be that 1A guy to Marc-Andre Fleury's 1B, and unfortunately, Gus didn't really necessarily, I don't know if he took it quite as seriously as maybe he should have. He came into camp out of shape. There wasn't that focus. There wasn't that collective emphasis for him like there is this year. This year, he's so technically sound. He's tracking the puck. He came into camp very focused, very in shape, which again was a big knock on him from Bill Guerin. I mean, they signed him to a contract extension with the hope that he would be this guy, and this year he certainly is. It's tremendous to watch. Like I said, 2 years ago, you saw flashes of this. You saw that potential, which is what led to his 3-year contract extension. And last year, it was just bad. And so this year, he came in with that chip on his shoulder, regained his composure, regained his confidence, and as you said, he's playing absolutely incredible. It's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, he's going to be a tough one for the Oilers to crack tonight. Among the many other elements of the Wild game that is pretty good, including that team defense and the blue line that you just discussed as well. Okay, having said that, what weaknesses, if any, does this Wild team possess? What would you tell us?
Special teams. It is brutal. It is so hard to watch. The penalty kill in particular, but the power play is not exactly anything extra special anymore either, which is crazy because for the beginning of the season, they were really rolling on all cylinders on the power play, and it's kind of fallen off. But penalty killing, we even spoke with John Hines about it this morning. He just hopes they stay out of the box because right now they haven't figured out the answer to why it's so poor. It was a problem that Minnesota had last year as well, and right now I think it's a matter of possibly switching out some players. Maybe they give Jared Spurgeon a new look instead of having some of the defensemen like John Merrill on that PK unit. But right now, the special teams really is the biggest holdup, which, as everybody knows, is something you need to clean up before you head into playoffs.
The Oilers and Wild similar in special teams heading into this game. Edmonton 17th in the NHL on the power play, 20%. Minnesota, meanwhile, 20th in the NHL at 18.9%. Both PKs stinky, for lack of a better term. The Oilers 26th, 73.1%, and Mini 29th heading into action at 71.6%. So there is the full picture with special teams. Jessi, how about this game? Like, what should we expect? Is it going to be wild? Is it going to be limited offense? What are you anticipating tonight between the Oilers and the Wild?
I think it'll be very similar to what we saw in Edmonton a couple of weeks ago. Very close, very tightly contested. Minnesota's going to do everything in their power to obviously keep this winning streak going. They actually have not been as successful at home as they have been on the road. So I think for them to start this homestand off with a win and keeping that losing streak for Edmonton going will say a lot. But as you mentioned, you're still without some of your key players. You're without Jonas Brodin, who to me is the big asset against Connor McDavid. But with Filip Gustavsson in net, I feel pretty good about Minnesota's chances. But I do think it'll be a 1-goal game. It's going to come down to who can get that first goal, I think, and who can keep the puck out of the net. So I think it'll be a fun one. I'm excited, hoping for not overtime. I hate writing 2 stories, selfishly.
I understand and respect that very, very much, especially when it comes to having to do a post-game show after a later start. And hopefully, or maybe we won't see one of those wacky goals like we did to start off the last game between these two teams, because that was something else. Like, are there any weird hops and bounces that have been happening at XL Energy Center? Because at Rogers Place, there's been some strange bounces in the last month or so, including the one that Draisaitl scored on Marc-Andre Fleury.
I don't think we can ever bring that up to Flower either. It was so heartbreaking. You're like, oh, no, what was that? That's one he wants back for sure. But luckily, it's been pretty decent ice here in St. Paul so far, but never say never, I guess.
Hey, it's a great hockey city, or they are great hockey cities, great state of hockey, as they like to call it, and a fantastic arena. This was fantastic, Jessi. Thank you for hopping on tonight. Enjoy the game, and we'll have to do it again.
Sounds good. Thanks, Tom.
There's Jessi Pierce from NHL.com covering the Minnesota Wild. Great stuff from her as we get you set for the action tonight. You can join me here at Boston Pizza Westgate. You see some Oilers jerseys here. I think that's Big Uke, if I'm not mistaken, and VR Montenegro that are already here. So some nasties have already shown up. That's great. And then if you don't want to come to the West End, took me 40 minutes to get here, Hernan, from downtown. Traffic, construction, and then just slow drivers. If you don't want to come here tonight, you can go visit Lieutenant Eric down at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. But we're going to have a lot of fun. And Nanso, you're coming down here as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be there. Gotta watch the Oil and my 49ers keep their slim playoff hopes alive. So, yeah, why not? It's gonna
very casual about that.
The roads are a little bit better, and it's a little bit later too. So I don't think it'll take that long to get down there and get some dinner as well. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Should be a fun evening.
It's gonna be great.
I love Thursday nights. There's something about a Thursday night that's just different, you know?
Yes. I mean, I think a Saturday night is
of course, but during the week, because it's like, okay, one more day of work, and then it's the weekend, and you don't mind having an extra 2 bevies on a Thursday, you know, compared to
one
like
or
a
two
Tuesday.
Extra. Yeah, no kidding.
Compared to a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So, anyway.
Well, tomorrow's the Christmas party for the EST crew, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. But I think we're gonna have to dial it back because we've got early pre and post game on Saturday, and as well as Hello Hockey.
Your show, Hello Hockey. Yeah, it's gonna be.
I know. So
it might be a rough Saturday for the pre and post game show.
Just
throwing that out there.
Just throwing it out there. I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm going to decline to comment on that and follow up by any means. Let's take a look around the National Hockey League. Busy Thursday because, as Hernan put it, there's something about Thursdays. And when 14 games are in the NHL, that helps add to the juice, especially this time of year. Christmas season, holiday season is great. So 14 games tonight in the National Hockey League. Right now, Toronto leading Anaheim 2-1. 14 minutes left in the second period. The Habs hosting the Pens. 1-1 the score there. Also 14 minutes remaining in the second period. No score between the Devils and the Kings. Midway through the second, donuts on the board as well for Philly and Detroit. That one in the city of brotherly love. Midway through the second there. 14 minutes left on the clock in Columbus. Nobody has yet to score as the Jackets and the Caps are tied at zeros. 1-0 Chicago leads the Islanders late in the first period. Donuts as well on the board because that game is just about to start in St. Louis as the Blues welcome in the San Jose Sharks. The San Jose Sharks, by the way, put out a fantastic retro Christmas rap music video. Randy Hahn's in it. A bunch of the players. You get a cameo from Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau. Those guys do it right. They might not be a great team and a franchise that's in rebuild mode, but they have fun and they get it with social media. So they did a great job. I say go check it out if you have a chance. Visit their social media pages and you'll see the music video I'm talking about. Dallas and Nashville has just gotten underway. 0-0 there. Also, same thing in Winnipeg as they welcome in the Golden Knights. You got Edmonton at Mini, Utah in Colorado, Tampa visits Calgary, and the Panthers are in Vancouver. And then to wrap up the night, Seattle welcomes in the Boston Bruins. Hernan, did we get right answers for the question of the night?
Yeah, we were missing Dusty Nilsson's daughter's favorite Oiler of all time, Zach Kassian, scored in that game as well. So it was Darnell Nurse, Leon Draisaitl, Zach Kassian, and Ty Rattie scoring in that 4-1 win. Cam Talbot got the dub as the starting goaltender. That was a long time ago, Tommy, over 5 years. So it's absolutely crazy. It's been that long. And hopefully the Oilers can show up. And I know Gage was talking about it. It's there is going to be a letdown game here, guys, right? Because they've been so good since the Colorado game. Like, they've played really well, Tom. It's probably been their most complete stretch where they really haven't had any lapses. So, I mean, hopefully it's not tonight because this team's really good 5-on-5. They're worse on the power play and the PK than the Edmonton Oilers, Tom, which is bizarre to me.
It's incredible, yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be a 5-on-5 game. If the Oilers can take advantage of their poor special teams, that's a bonus as well. I mean, the big one here is Filip Gustavsson. He's been outstanding for this team. It's going to be tough to beat him on this night. I have no issues with Calvin Pickard getting the start. I think he every time he comes in, he gives the Oilers a chance, and that's all you can ask from your backup. So I'm not too worried about the goaltending, but I just hope, because the letdown game is coming, Tom, and all the good teams go through it. They'll have one. Let's just hope it's not tonight, because the Oilers really need to get a win in Minnesota against a very good team. And I know they're dealing with their own injuries. They got a lot of key guys out, but the Oilers getting another maybe bounce in that area, because the Oilers are fairly healthy. I mean, they haven't had Kane all year, so I don't count them, but they're only missing Victor Arvidsson. So I'm excited for this game. I think the Oilers, if they continue to play like they have the last four, there's not much to complain about. And I agree with Jessi. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a close game. But we'll see if the Oilers can beat one of the top two goaltenders in the league tonight. That's going to be the big test, Tom.
Filip Gustavsson having a great season for the Wild so far. And then at the other end, you heard Hernan talking about it. Calvin Pickard getting the start. He is 2-4 lifetime versus Minnesota, 280 goals against average, 909 save percentage, and one shutout in those 6 games. Gustavsson, perfect against Edmonton in his career, 2-0 record, 3.0 goals against average, 916 save percentage in those 2 appearances. No Eriksson Ek for the Wild, no Brodin, no Zuccarello as well. Now, Edmonton, like Hernan was talking about, Arvidsson, IR undisclosed. Last I heard, expect him to play before Christmas, but we're 2 weeks away from Christmas. And Kane, IR abdominal surgery. We had the mini update on Kane the other day from Chris Knobloch saying that you probably won't hear much about him for at least another month. So that is your injury report. The Oilers have lost their last 6 visits to Minnesota, and Minnesota so far this year 7-3-1 at home. The Oilers, though, good road team at 8-4-1, looking to maybe break this curse against the Wild in St. Paul.
And they're due, man. I mean, it's like Edmonton owning Nashville. Remember years ago when Anaheim just owned Calgary for some reason, Tom? It was Calgary could not win in Anaheim no matter what.
Phoenix/Arizona had the Oilers number. It was like they took points off of Edmonton in like 24 straight games, and they weren't even good.
No, they were
not good.
So I think every team has that team that they just can't seem to beat no matter what, or where the teams are in their I guess, quest for
life
the
cycle.
Cup. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, Tom. So it's going to be interesting. I am. Were you surprised at all Pickard's getting the start? I know we talked about it
a little bit,
and it's. I mean, listen. Again, I'm okay with this. Stuart Skinner's playing really, really well. He's been excellent the last 6-7 games for the Edmonton Oilers, and he's your number one no matter what. But I mean, I'd say a tiny bit surprised that they went, because I thought maybe they'd ride the hot hand. I know I asked Gage on our show, and he said, yeah, he was a bit surprised too. But again, it's not a disrespect to Calvin Pickard, because he's been really good, Tom. But it's going to be it's a tough game for him as well. But he's gone into Dallas, and I know last year he went into New Jersey and stole a few games. So Calvin Pickard's been solid. So I was just curious if people were kind of expecting Skinner to kind of run the table here, because there's no back-to-backs, right? So, and we got to give him credit, Tom. He's been really good. I'm seeing some people in the nasty chat saying Pickard should get the next game too. It's like, let's take it one game at a time. Stuart Skinner's your number one, and he's been excellent. Yeah. Like, you got to give him props. Like, I get piling on and all that, but Stuart Skinner's been really, really good as of late. So why go away from your number one goaltender when he's playing the best hockey of the season?
780-218-9999. Text us your thoughts going into this game. Are you leery of the Minnesota Wild, or do you think the Oilers are due for a big game in Minnie? They have struggled there mightily in the last 17 years and 2-11, I think, against the Wild overall in the last 13 games. So it's going to be tough for the Oilers. And then we had right answers to the question of the night. Good on those that actually remembered when the Oilers won 4-1 back in 2019 in Minnesota, and those who did score for Edmonton. And if you got Cam Talbot, that's a bonus for you. I'm going to get into the lineups one more time. I need to go to the pronouncer for Murat Husnutdinov one more time. I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Hernan, yeah, I got it in front of me too.
Yeah. I'm glad that I think that was Reed that printed that out. Smart. And then the other one is Loco, and it's just Loco, like your Loco essay. So it's not as crazy as you might initially think. All right, for the Oilers lineup-wise, it will be McDavid with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman, Draisaitl between Podkolzin and Kapanen, Henrique centering Janmark and Skinner, Derek Ryan between Corey Perry and Connor Brown, Ekholm paired up with Bouchard, Nurse with Stetcher, Kulak with Emerson, Alec Regula is the odd man out for the Oilers. Travis Dermott being placed on waivers today, and he'll probably find his way through and wind up with the Condors shortly. For the Wild tonight, Marco Rossi centering Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Boldy, Ryan Hartman between Marcus Foligno and Marcus Johansson, Frederick Gaudreau with Jacob Loco and Yakov Trenin, and then Murat Husnutdinov between Devin Shore, the former Oiler, and Ben Jones. On defense for the Wild tonight, Jake Middleton with Brock Faber, Declan Chisholm, and Jared Spurgeon are a pair, John Merrill with Zach Bogosian. No Cameron Crotty for Minnie. Your goalies Pickard and Gustafsson. Nanso, any text that you want to get to? I saw a few that had come in, but I'll give it to you first.
Let's see here. Corey B. They've had enough letdown games this season. It's time for a run. I agree, but I mean, they are going to drop a game or two here coming up. Not coming up, but eventually, right, Tom? Let's see what else.
Hopefully they don't. If you're an Oiler fan,
of course not. But
they're starting to create a little bit of a gap between in the win-loss column, which is good. Now, other teams in the division are winning games, and I was kind of joking about that Pacific Division being a hot division with the top teams on extended streaks or winning streaks. I think LA's on a 6-gamer. Vegas was on a 3-gamer. The Oilers on a 3-gamer right now. So it's tight up there, and nobody's giving up any ground in the Pacific.
The Wolf says, reports coming out of Van that Vinny D is struggling to find a permanent spot. Could and would you bring him back? The Wolf says yes. I say hell no, Tommy.
From an upgrade on the current blue line, especially on the right side perspective, yes. But what makes me ultimately say no is the price point.
But it's not just that, Tom. Is he...
Well, and then the other thing, too, I think I know where you're going. May I? Mm-hmm. We know in the playoffs he struggles. And if he's struggling in the regular season right now, that's not a good indicator.
No, and I've been saying this all year. You got rid of Ceci and Vinny because you wanted to upgrade those two guys. They didn't, right?
Yeah.
Now, Emerson's coming into his own. He's been a lot better. Stetcher's playing some solid minutes. Is Vinny D an upgrade on those two guys? Probably slightly. Depends on the game. That's why I say no, because this team needs a big upgrade. Not stop bringing in third pairing guys. No more third pairing guys. You need a top 4. You're not getting a top pairing guy. You're probably getting a 3-4, maybe a really good 5 like Kulak, Tom. But enough with the third pairing guys. And unfortunate for Vinny D, but he's got a 3-year deal, so it's not like they can just throw him away. He might end up on waivers. Who knows? In the minors, getting some more minutes there, Tom. But interesting to see that Vinny D is not kind of Rick Tocchet's guy right now.
Well, I mean, and he could, especially with that commitment to Vinny Desharnais from the Canucks, they're probably going to give him a chance to work through it and find his game.
For sure.
That's likely to happen, I would assume. And then we heard Reed and Jay earlier talking about Josh Brown, and I was like, it still baffles me that he has a 3-year contract at $1 million per.
And no disrespect to the players. It sounds like Josh Brown. The players love him. Sounds like he's a really good dude. Stands up for his teammates. But
yes,
like with the management that went and signed this deal, like it's you got to be sitting there and saying why, Tom. Because
I'm still saying why. And when I was asking people from the organization, they're like, "Oh, it wasn't on my list to sign him. Oh, it wasn't on my list to sign him."
Everybody's just kind of like, "No, it wasn't me. Wasn't me. Wasn't
me." Yeah. So I'm like, okay. Well, that doesn't make sense. But alas, here he is as a member of the Oilers organization. Josh Brown down in Bakersfield. Let's get to a couple more texts to wind things down here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Gazzola, live on location, Boston Pizza Westgate. Come on down. Lots of awesome prizes. I'm going to grab the Mahomes jersey. It's even in the bag, so it's fresh. It's a good one. There you go. That's looking good. And then there's a 49ers hat.
Let's see that hat, Tom.
You want to see it? Okay, I'll grab it. Let me just go grab it here. Sorry.
Yeah. No worries.
You want your eyes on this
I thought it was
prize,
a lot closer, man. I apologize.
No, it's at the table over. That's okay. Here it is.
Okay.
Nice. It's a trucker cap, right? New era.
Very nice.
So, yeah, really nice. I figured you'd like that because it is Thursday Night Football here as well as the Oiler game. The Oiler game audio will be played in-house. Of course, if you want to play the golf sim, the Coors Light golf sim over my shoulder, you can book your tee time for the golf sim on that QR code that's on your screen if you're watching right now. And then they also have game day specials here, $5 off medium pizzas, $1 off beer, Molson product, obviously. And just come on down, say hello. I've got GCs to give away too. Lots of good stuff here at Boston Pizza Westgate. Plus, the Oilers Heritage Classic hoodie, which Tony managed to find another one.
T-Man says I need a booster seat. You know why the seat's so low, Tom? Because if I lift it up, I can't tuck it in under the desk. It's a little, it's not the most.
But what about the camera? Can't you just tilt it down?
I don't want to mess with anything because they'll probably ruin everything, Tom. You know how I am behind the production desk. I'm a mess. Just leave everything the way it is.
Hey, you do you, Hernan.
There's
you do
a
you.
little bit better.
All right, let's get to a couple texts to wrap up here. Potato Salad Jessi, what a name. Says tonight feels like the night when they beat Boston last year in that big win. I hope you're right, Potato Salad Jessi. Troll says Josh Brown strikes me as a stopper signing. LOL. Oh, Troll, living up to the name. Corey B, you got to his letdown games. Jason and Leduc says Thursday he likes to call Mini Friday. Very good. And then Norman, a Combine, great guy, says you guys always seem to have great guests, Tom. Good to see Big Uke is repping the Combine crew at BP's. Have a great night, everybody. Hernan sounds like the main guy in Office Space after he sees the hypnotist from Stu.
Just laid back today, Tom. Feeling good.
Just laid back.
I'm feeling a win.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that good vibes on a Mini Friday rolls into the game down in St. Paul, Minnesota. All right, final thoughts, Hernan.
Yeah, excited for this game. The Oilers have to show up, and they have in the last good stretch here. They've played some really good teams, have gone toe-to-toe with them, have picked up wins, looking for their first four straight wins this season. So excited to see what happens tonight. I know Minnesota's missing some key players, but they got an excellent goaltender and an excellent team and are well coached. Mm-hmm. So I agree with Jessi, like what she said earlier. I think it's going to be a lot of goals in this one. I do. I think it's going to be close, but I do think the Edmonton Oilers break that streak of not winning in Minnesota, and Oiler fans are going to be over the moon happy on the post-game show, Tom.
Well, we're going to have fun regardless. Come on down to Boston Pizza Westgate and hang out. It's going to be a great time. Take advantage of game day specials. And then you got a chance to win this 49ers hat. We've also got this Patrick Mahomes jersey. There you go. It's still in the bag. It's ready. We're going to be giving that away. And a Heritage Classic Oilers hoodie, among many other great prizes. Come on down. We're going to have some fun. Thursday Night Football and Oilers Wild. Big thank you to Jessi Pierce from NHL.com covering the Wild for stopping by to give us the scoop on Mini. For Joaquin, Gage, and Hernan Salas, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thanks for watching. Thank you for listening. We will talk to you on the post-game show. Ciao for now.